What's up, PlayStation Universe? I'm Kyle Prawl, bringing you another Fallout 4 settlement video, where I attempt to tackle your questions about the Fallout 4 settlement system, some of the most common things that people have expressed in comment sections, forums, on PSU.com, where I write for, all over the place, right? And I've covered power, I've covered assigning settlers to jobs, so what I want to look at now is something that's kind of plaguing all of us, including myself, and that's how setting objects and connecting objects can sometimes be very finicky and hard to deal with. So I'm going to walk through the task of connecting some objects, building things in a logical way, and then give you a few tips to kind of get a better handle on things and hopefully achieve the kind of look or the kind of structure that you're going for. So here's an interesting example of walls that I've managed to connect together in a way that looks seamless, but actually isn't quite seamless. We'll get to that in a second. So when you build a wall, well, let's just take this wall panel for example. You can hit X to select, and as you've probably experienced by now, the game is going to try to snap together any tiles of a similar type. So with this shack wall made of steel, as I rotate it, as I move it closer, it's stuck. Pull out, and it's stuck again, right? So the game is kind of intelligently linking those things together. And if I were to do a roof tile, go to metal, roofs. Okay, don't have enough steel for either of those. Let's try wood. Okay, here's one I can build. There you go. I've got a few things blocking his way, but you can see there that it's intelligently snapping to that roof tile. Not this one, probably because of that conduit. And then over here... Alright, well it's only giving us that one because of some obstructions. But this is a good way to get started, right? You can build that roof tile, and then start to add roof tiles out from that one to build a larger structure. Or you can use floor tiles, like I've done here, coming out from walls, like these steel walls, to build sort of a second level. This stairwell piece, for example, too, will also kind of intelligently connect to those other tiles. So you can get some pretty sophisticated stuff going just by linking things together, including staircases like this one. But what happens when the attachment system or when the stickiness is working against you? Well, in a case like that, I found that it really does come as the result of a lot of finagling. Like, it's patience, definitely part of it. Let's see, I'll leave that one because of that tile. But, yeah, let's try working with this. I'll show you what I mean. So this is a good time to take a look at the game's controls, right? At least on PS4, synonymous with your platform, L2 and R2 are going to rotate your object. You can obviously move in 3D space, left, right with your body. You can look up and down like this. And you can also independently change the elevation and the location. So this is something that's really easy to miss because the game buries it in the help menu and only shares it with you there. But with the object out like this, I can hold X and then move the left stick to independently move the object away from me, forward, backward. Okay, so that's with holding X plus left stick. Now if you hold X and L1 at the same time, alright, I'm holding both. Now up and down is going to move it and adjust the elevation independently. So those are good tools to know in case you need a little extra help getting things together without attaching them. But here's what I found to more often than not work for me, and 90% of the time I can get a rough approximation of where I'm going. I found that you want to approach it at a hard angle, a nice perpendicular angle. So rotate the object so that it's perpendicular to where you're trying to connect it. Like say if we want to have this wall be a zigzag pattern or send it in a different direction entirely. And kind of just... This is where it gets tricky. We'll have to do a little modification. You're going to want to just kind of slowly move until you can kind of override the game's stickiness and still get what you're trying to go for. Alright, we're having a little trouble here, so let's try raising the elevation and see if we can't beat the game's logic on that. Alright, so the elevation's still up. Now let's try lowering it. Okay. Alright, let's try placing it. I find that this helps sometimes too, placing the object a little ways away and then sort of working in little chunks from there. Oh, that's too far. Sometimes I found that moving away from that bridge point can help you out too. For example, if I kind of attack the wall from here, inside the house a little bit, create some distance. All right, then I select it, and I'm going to use that horizontal movement to try to get it a little closer. Let's take another look at it. Sometimes you do have to admit defeat, and I'm embarrassed to say that this does seem to be one of those times. And what you can do in a case like that is, let's just get it back to, you know, roughly here. Here's where you can dig through your inventory, or dig through your materials rather, and find a different type of object that you can use to kind of fill in that gap. And this is only, of course, for what I would call our advanced settlement users, or those who really want to go for a certain look and want to just absolutely nail it. Then you can find other materials in here, especially these end walls, like what I have highlighted now, that are about half the width of other things and can kind of use to fill in that gap. So since this particular spot isn't working, I'm going to run down to a place where I know I can show you a good example. So I'm heading south from my camp, right? There's my crop field hidden behind that steel wall. And I'm in the process of running copper wires out to a large water purifier that's going to give me 40 units of power just as soon as I find enough copper to get some wires out this way. But I got my generator, and what I've built here is a shielded wall at the suggestion of somebody in another one of my videos in the comments, so thank you for that. A shielded wall protecting my generator so that when raiders come, they can't destroy that while I'm busy fighting them up on the main road. Now, if you look at these wall tiles out here, these are independently, or rather intelligently snapped together, as the game generally wants you to do. Same with this corner piece, and same with these wall pieces. But right here on the end, right, I have this sealed off, and from a distance, you can't even tell that it's not part of the seamless wall structure, but it is just this little wall tile that's not connected to anything. So how do we get it to fit in there? Well, again, it's just a matter of kind of getting up close and personal, using your rotation tricks, you're changing the elevation trick, testing it from a few different ways of attack, a few different directions. In this case, we're not worried about fighting the linking, we're just kind of worried about having it look good. There, that's pretty close. Here's another example with a staircase like this. If I reuse the elevation tool, you'll actually see that there was quite a bit of it underneath the ground, but with some tools, you're not going to get penalized for that. You know, it's still green as I raise and lower it, so I can use these as a 3-stair length, as a 4-stair, a 5-stair, 6, 7, 8, whatever I'm going to need for whatever particular use I want for that staircase, I can get with the elevation tool. And we'll put it back. Let's see if we can take one more thing of attack at one of these walls and try to override that system, right? So the game wants me to connect the tile piece here, but I've got a different idea. Maybe I want to put corn exactly where this fence is, and so I want to build my wall out at a weird angle. Let's see if we can get it. Pretty close. Alright, that's a good starting point. So from here, let me try to get a better angle on it. Corn is kind of in my way. There we go. We'll use rotation to try and get around that. A little too far. I use the elevation to override that linking to get it a little higher. I'll bring it down intersecting with that wall. Oh, there we go. Oh, it was perfect and we lost it. I won't lie to you, many of the corners in my fort, some of the ones that I have managed to string together like this, have taken, 10, 12, 15 minutes to try and get exactly right. There's no need to be quite that painstaking, and generally the corner snapping is going to work for you, but it is possible to finagle things and get them just the way you want it most of the time. Whether we have to cut a hard angle. Or like that. See, you can get there. Most of the time. One last thing about objects and their connections and how you can tool around with them. If you hold X on any structure before hitting X that first time, right? So if I hit X once, like on this post, then I can move it, and then holding X will do this. But if I just hold X, just initially, I'm going to pick up everything that that object is connected to. That can look pretty epic, like this. Crazy, right? Just a whole world lifted up above your head. Which makes it really easy to move these kind of bulk structures made out of individual tiles, like the house and upper deck I've made here. Except in this case, it's moving absolutely everything, because I have an intricate system of linking. That little wooden pathway you can see there on the right side of the screen. Send it below the earth, etc., etc. And we'll hit circle to put it back. So that's an overview of the controls, and hopefully you were able to glean a few tips for piecing together wall tiles and floor tiles in a way that's going to work for you. Remember to use elevation to test whether you can go below ground in certain cases. Use the independent controls, holding X for horizontal, holding X plus L1 for vertical, to try and get around the game's insistence on snapping things together, if you need to. Alright, thanks for watching. As always, please leave comments in the comment section below if you have anything else to ask about the settlement system or the game in general, and I'll do my best to answer all of them. Thank you.